is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really, really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C., and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do. And when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here. We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
who is the Olympic athlete?
His faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want?
No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning. Black Hat, rated R.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
living in times where there is an assault on sanity. Political correctness has run amok and logic has been left by the wayside. Do you constantly ask yourself, WTF is going on in this nation? Do you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own country? Well, fear not. You are not alone. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, coming to you from deep inside flyover country with your hosts, V. Wright and Jose Estevez.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to WTF. I am V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. And folks, let me just take a second and tell you that you're going to get more truth from me and my co-host V than you're going to get from Marie Harf and Josh Earnest in the next 2 years of this regime. You can take that to the bank. As usual, folks, we're coming to you live, unrehearsed, unscripted, and unpolitically correct. PG-13, but definitely not PC. This is the Wednesday edition of the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot radio show. Welcome.
Well, that was very nice, senor, and you are absolutely correct. Anybody that thinks they're going to get anything of any semblance of honesty out of this regime is sadly mistaken.
Well, and sadly, the truth is, the listeners probably aren't questioning it either, but they could probably just as well say they'd get more truth out of Baghdad Bob in the next 2 years than they're going to get out of those two bubbleheads.
Oh, it is horrible. It really is horrible.
I don't know how people can just sit there and lie and lie and lie. And of course, they do it, where they talk in half-truths and they don't really say. But it's still lying, whether it's omission or intentional, whatever it is. It's still lying. It's deceitful. Call it what you want. I don't know how they sleep at night, knowing that they must get paid a lot of money. I'm sure a lot more than I make. So, anyway.
Well,
come here for the truth, folks. We'll give it to you. And it's, by the way, What the EFF Wednesday. Folks, we haven't had one of these for roughly a month because of the holidays. We had some specials in there on Wednesdays because Wednesday preceded the major holidays of Christmas and New Year's. And then the 1 week I was out with no voice. And, folks, we are back with What the F Wednesday. And, boy, have we got a good one for you. And there you go. The way only V can do it. But I think we've got a good show for you guys tonight. Thanks for joining us from all around the world. We appreciate it. As always, if you want to call the show with your own What the F moment or for any other reason that seems to make sense, give us a call. 313-462-0068 is the number. Once again, 313-462-0068. We'd love to talk to you. And, what's our first one, V? What do you got lined up for us in the bullpen?
Well, interesting information came out today. And I don't know that it's really a what the F moment. Because it was kind of maybe thought that it might, that might be the case. But, Malaysia Airlines has a problem keeping its planes in the air.
Boy, they sure do. I tell you what, that's one airline I'm not getting on any of their planes. I don't care if the tickets are free. No.
Well, they had one totally disappear, and then, they did find wreckage from this one. They did find the black box, and apparently the pilot, who we knew was Islamic, his last words were, Allah Akbar!
What? And folks, if you don't know what that means to Muslims, that is saying our God is great, Allah is great. So I've seen a lot on the web today looking after that news came out. I was looking at some different sites, and people were saying, well, but he was a Muslim, we knew that, and maybe he was just saying that because, he was about to die. I guess you can look at it any way you want to.
Well, I guess maybe because it wasn't preceded with I don't know.
Maybe it was like saying Alakazam or something, and he was trying to turn the plane into a float plane, which obviously didn't work. We shouldn't make fun of this, but
maybe that's his version of Carrie Underwood's song "Jesus Take the Wheel." I don't know.
Oh. Wow. Like we said, folks, unpolitically.
It never ceases to amaze me, absolutely. And he is absolutely correct. We are always non-PC. There is no PC here. But, it's What the F Wednesday. And as usual, we're going to sit here and have a good time and enjoy ourselves and, bring you the information that we can bring you in only the ways that we can. And do what we do. I want to take a moment and thank you all for listening to us, for being a part of our show. And we had a momentary lapse, guys. We're sorry about that. Technical issues do occur from time to time, and that is what occurred there. We did have a technical disruption, and I apologize for that, but us being us, we got it right back up and running, senor.
Hi.
Yeah. You had an issue before air, and I thought maybe you had dropped off, and then all of a sudden I looked, and it was like, nope, all connections lost for a second, so
right. Well, that happens in the world.
Well, fortunately, I was able to grab it right back and get us back up, so that's awesome. Anyway, but as I was stating, we would like to take a moment, and put some seriousness here.
Right.
We've been here since October 13th of 2014. That's not a very long time. We have a tremendous listening base.
Yes, we are blessed with that. That is indeed true.
And when I say tremendous, truly, folks, I do mean that. And it's because of all the hard work you guys have put in for us. You guys spreading our information out there, telling people to listen to us and encouraging people to listen to us. We would not be where we are without you, and we cannot thank you enough. So that's my serious side of WTF Wednesday.
There you go. But no, and once again, I'll follow it up too with, we try to make light of everything, but anytime there's a loss of human life, it's a sad thing. I mean, whether we knew these people or not, it doesn't matter. It's just a sad thing. The sad part is it may be terrorism related. It may be related to Islamo-fascists. Once again, there's not many of them out there, we're told, but this could very well possibly be related to that. The thing I was going to say before we lost air, V, was that let's not forget, folks. Now, yeah, some people are saying, well, gee, this is, something he would say being a Muslim with his impending death. However, let's not forget, this is also things that are said over and over and over by people just before they massacre a lot of people. One example I'll give you is Fort Hood. That was exactly what he said before he had his gun out and started shooting people indiscriminately and killed, 15 people, wounded very many others. So, it seems like it could be a terrorism related, but who knows? But still, God rest the souls of all those that were killed. There were a lot of people, a lot of souls on that plane, I think 162, and that's a tragedy no matter which way you look at it. But I'm serious in the fact that I will not fly Malaysia Air at all, ever, for any reason. That I'm absolutely serious about. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Oh, come on. Now, seriously, what would be the problem? What's the likelihood that another plane... I think we said that after the last one disappeared. What's the likelihood that something would happen again?
I'm just going to not play the odds there. There's just some things that... There's just no sense in it. So, well, and my next story too. It's really not a what the F, folks, but it's an interesting story, and it kind of will make you say, "Wow, how did both of these things come together?" But today, 10 people were killed in Texas. A prison bus in West Texas, west of Odessa, was transporting inmates from Middleton Prison in Abilene to Sanchez Prison in El Paso. Apparently, they're having some of the global warming down there as well. Cold weather, roads were icy. So they slide off of an embankment by a bridge onto a train tracks, and there is a train with 4 engines and I think 80 cars or something slams into them. I mean, what are the chances? What are the odds? 8 inmates dead, 2 corrections officers. I believe 4 inmates are in bad shape but survived, and maybe 1 corrections officer as well.
Wait a minute. You say that's not a what the F moment. And, I mean, I understand people got hurt and people died, but that is a what the... How often do you hear of a bus getting hit by a train?
Well, that part of it, exactly, that part very much. That's what I said. It just stood out to me that here they are driving along the highway. Next thing you know, they're on train tracks, and a train's bearing down on them. I'm sure trains aren't running, back to back out in West Texas. I'm going to just assume that. So next thing you know, here's this huge train coming, and wham, just everything happens like that. That's some hard to believe stuff, but it's a true story. And like I said, 10 people lost their lives today in West Texas. 8 prisoners and 2 corrections officers.
Well, our condolences to their families, but it does make me think of a guy I dated some years back. He
was a prisoner?
No. He might should have been.
Oh, okay. I'm like, all of a sudden I'm thinking of Manson and he's getting married or something. I mean, come on. How bad does that have to make single women feel to know that Manson, or single guys, to know that Charlie Manson's going to get married? Oh, boy. But you're still sitting there on Match.com or whatever your poison is trying to find somebody. How's that working for you?
Well, some days it's better than being married.
Well, that could be true.
Because, I've been single for a long time, and I don't mind it. I don't mind it so much. But I did date a guy one time. Well, actually, I dated him for a long time. But he is the only person I have ever known that has been hit in a vehicle by a boat on dry land.
Say what?
He was...
Okay, there's a story here you're going to explain.
He was on his way, and there was oncoming traffic on a 2-lane road, and apparently the guy towing the boat had been out and had too many to drink on the water that day, and he lost control of his truck. His boat dislodged, flew through the air, and hit the vehicle of the guy I was dating at the time. So he is the only person I have ever met who has been hit by a boat on dry land.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, yeah, what's the likelihood and the chances of that happening, huh? Holy smokes.
Hindsight says it's a shame, that it was, but that's an old new ball game.
Oh, boy. Well, here's an interesting one again. Folks, if you're in West Hollywood, California, the People's Republic of California, oh my gosh, what is in the water out there? Seriously.
In Jerry Brown land.
Moonbeam, Governor Moonbeam. I mean, what is wrong with California? I know there's some good people out there, but I also know it's about half of Mexico as well inhabiting that state. But seriously, this makes no sense at all, and I don't really even comprehend it. All single-stall restrooms in businesses and public places as of tomorrow, according to a new law, shall become gender-neutral, quote, to be more welcoming and safer for transgender and gender non-conforming people. I don't even know what transgender... I know what transgender means. Gender non-conforming people? What are we talking about here?
That's just people that refuse to acknowledge what their gender is. I mean, that's somebody that says, I don't want to say it. Yeah, I've got breasts, but no, I may not be a woman. What is that? That is crazy. That is.
I can see some guys have man boobs, and that might be difficult, but I don't think that's what they're talking about. Holy smokes! Transgender and gender non-conforming people, we have to have specific bathrooms. Well, not specifically for them, but they should feel free to use. That they can feel free to use. I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't know. It's somebody who is publicly offended by choosing the little sign that looks like a girl or the sign that looks like a boy.
Bless America.
We're
in so much trouble in this country. We're in so much trouble.
Talk about what the F's.
There's a what the F for you folks. I mean, really? So now in West Hollywood, California, they are going to have specific bathrooms starting tomorrow by law, folks. So, if you don't have them, then you're going to get fined. This is by law for gender neutral or for transgender and gender nonconforming people. They have to be gender neutral to be more welcoming and safer.
Well, wait a minute. Don't most establishments that only have one restroom allow anybody to use it anyway?
I would think so. I mean, yeah, what else do you do?
or does that count when you have a male and a female bathroom and there's and there as you say single stall? So what happens if you go into an establishment that has like 4 or 5 stalls for women and 4 or 5 stalls for men, and one of those baby changing things on the wall, and a tampon dispenser and cologne, and what happens then?
Wow, in full detail. Okay. Do they still have those? Never mind, we're not going there. Never mind.
Oh, that's
I don't
right.
wanna know.
The tampon dispenser has been removed for the new morning after pill and the condoms.
Oh, and don't forget one for marijuana dispenser, too. We probably have one of those. And it's probably free, of course, subsidized by the taxpayers. So if you're a little tense or whatever, you can smoke a joint and, loosen up a little bit, so to speak. Wow. But I'm going to be honest with you, V. Can I be completely honest and blunt here?
Always, my friend.
I'll never, folks, I'm going to tell you what, I'll never know anything about these stalls or anything about California, because you will never, and you can take this to the bank, you can record me right now at 7:22 p.m. Eastern on January 14, 2015. What the F Wednesday, I will never go to the state of California. I have no reason to do so.
And you know what?
Nope.
That is a story. That is a story, folks. Senor told you at the top of the hour, you always get the truth, and that was not the truth, because I'm going to tell you right now. If Clint Eastwood or Chuck Norris were in California and said, we're sending you a plane ticket, come give us an interview, he would be in California as fast as his little feet could get him there.
You know what? For those two, I would make an exception to the rule. For those two. Maybe for a couple others. Well, they don't even exist. I mean, Reagan's gone and Charlton Heston's gone. All the good guys, a lot of the good guys are gone. So, but I'm telling you what, yeah, I would probably make an exception for them, but I'd still never set my foot inside of a place where I'd have to worry about a gender-neutral, transgender, gender-nonconforming people stall. I can assure you that.
I just had to call you out because I knew those two would get you to California.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, if either one wants to call me out and wants me to walk down the red carpet with them for a premiere, or some gun thing or whatever, heck, you're right. I'd be there as fast as could possibly happen. You're right. I agree. All right, you got me.
Y'all want to hear what the F? What the F? There is a principal that wants kids to keep cans of veggies to throw at the bad guys if they come in the school to shoot them up. What in the... Oh, these people are insane. I'm sure it's in a...
zones.
Oh.
Now we're going to have cans. And of course, if the kids get hungry because their meals are so crappy that Michelle Obama has pushed for them, then they can, they can open up a can of whatever it is. And
instead of a can of whoop butt, we open up a can of green beans.
Can you believe that, folks? They're going to use cans to defend themselves. Cans of food to defend themselves.
It works well for the Muslims. They throw rocks, so...
Oh, my goodness. Isn't that insanity? What are we teaching our kids?
Little Susie, let's go outside to the baseball court because you can't throw hard enough or fast enough. Here's your can of green beans.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Well, once again, folks, we don't make any of it up. These are all ripped right from the headlines, and they're all as true as we are alive, and we are talking to you right now.
Y'all want to hear the funniest thing I've heard all day? Y'all want to hear the funniest thing? What the F? John Bader announced he is not a moderate.
Well, he's right.
Yeah, he's like Jeb Bush. He's a Democrat.
And exactly. I was going to say, it's just, I was talking to somebody today, and I mentioned that that Jeb Bush might as well just run as a Democrat, and the guy totally, wholeheartedly agreed. He said, that's a really good point. He said, there's not much difference there. That's the total truth right there. Now, I got one for you guys. You guys got to hear this because, once again, it's all true. It's What the F Wednesday. All right, folks. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, and, of course, we're all very familiar with him, on IDs for illegals. Now, don't forget, folks, we've been talking about IDs for illegals for quite a while now, and the whole idea of IDs for illegals is that they deserve to have them. California is giving them to them. Texas is actually suing because it's costing them $130 per driver's license to give them to illegals as mandated. Let's not forget our story last night. If you're in the state of Wisconsin and you're a taxpayer, one of the 40% hole in the cart, you're actually paying for illegals to get weapons permits so they can carry weapons. This is a true story. Way to go, Wisconsin. That's a real good one. So anyway, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio on IDs for illegals. This is an actual quote. We don't want them to feel like second-class citizens. What the F, Mayor de Blasio? They are not citizens to begin with. Can you believe it? More and more and more. So I don't understand it.
Oh, but this is the land of inclusion. I mean, we've all got to sit around and be compatible and tolerant. Of course, they don't have to be tolerant of us. We just have to be tolerant of them. And we send around, they want these campfire experiences where we're all sitting around and holding hands and singing Kumbaya and, just patting each other on the back. And if you're an idiot, we want to pat you on the head and tell you how brilliant you are. And, if you want to blow me up, I'm going to apologize. I'm sorry that you want to blow me up.
Right.
You want to steal everything out of my wallet. Here you go, darling. Would you like my house, my coat, my car, too?
Well, let me follow up on that. Now, once again, in New York City, you guys are following up California as the state that's making me say what the F the most. New York City, really? He's gifting illegals. This is Bill de Blasio again. He is gifting illegals with a free ID card. Now, listen to this, folks. That includes a year's membership, totally free, to 33 of the city's cultural institutions. They include, and this is from the ID NYC website. So look it up, folks. ID NYC website. This free pass includes world-class museums, performing arts centers, concert halls, botanical gardens, and zoos in all 5 boroughs. I'm going to tell you what, folks. The cost of an annual membership for anyone not having the card is $110 for an individual, $210 for a family. If you're here illegally, you get it for free.
Well, along with your housing, your cell phone, your food stamps. Oh, and if you come in and you're 64 tomorrow and you came in today, guess what you get tomorrow? Social Security.
Isn't the folks? Are you sitting there just like I am saying, what the F, more and more? Sometimes I say it 25, 30 times a minute, it seems like, reading these stories. And, I mean, I can hardly believe I'm talking to you about this and telling you this information, but it's right there in black and white. What is going on in New York City? How much longer can you afford to do this? Who's paying for this? Where's the money coming from? You guys got money trees growing somewhere over there that we don't know about? What in the heck is going on?
There are days where I feel like Linda Blair. My head just spins around on my shoulders.
Ask that Marine Tamarisi what Mexico does if you make a wrong turn and try to get the heck out of the country and you've got a couple legal weapons, legal in the United States, and some ammunition. He sits in a Mexican poop hole jail for 8 or 9 months.
But the president
and here
of
we
Mexico,
give them all the stuff for free. They're not citizens, folks. They're not American citizens. They broke the law to come here. They're felons.
But the president of Mexico is encouraging the immigration plan here in the United States to, in so much as he will provide documentation to any Mexican that requests it, saying that they've been here since before 2010. No,
you know
what?
Let's take a break, V. Folks, if you want to call the show, 313-462-0068.
You sound disgusted.
I got to take some meds real quick. Maybe simmer down a little bit. But we've got a story. We're going to do a story coming right out of the break about a House vote today on the illegal immigrants. We got to talk about that real quick. And of course, we're not.
Moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Citigold is an account from a global bank with over 200 years experience, offering international banking expertise across over 100 markets. Your dedicated investment consultant adds a unique personal touch to your banking experience. Complimentary lifestyle offers like Marhaba service and free global money transfers help you save on time and money. At the core of Citigold is your dedicated relationship manager, personally looking after your financial needs. Be it lifestyle privileges like golf, lounge access across the Middle East, or worldwide privileges, Citigold provides you with a rewarding experience. One card is all you need for all your Citibank accounts. As a Citigold client, you benefit from our international expertise and global reach. Citigold is more than an account. It's a personal banking service offering exceptional privileges, customer service and recognition worldwide. So wherever you are, Citigold will be with you.
The design of the Ford Escape is clearly intended to grab your eye. And your foot. Huh, ain't that a kick? The Ford Escape with the foot-activated liftgate. Go open up something interesting. Go further.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want? No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning. Black Hat, rated R.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back, everybody. It's WTF, and I am V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. And if Jose Estevez says it, it's the truth. Boy, I can't back that up. Trust me, folks. Trust me.
And it is What the F Wednesday. Amen to that. Hey, I got a what the F for you.
Go for it.
What the F? A beauty queen dies having plastic surgery she won in the beauty pageant.
Oh, my word.
So, I feel bad for her family. My condolences to them. But Catherine Cando, a part-time glamour model from Ecuador, won her local Queen of Duran beauty competition. And part of the prize package was cosmetic surgery. Now, I'm just sitting here thinking, I don't know. I'm not a beauty queen, so I'm just wondering, if you're a beauty queen, would that not be kind of insulting to win a cosmetic surgery prize?
What country was that?
Ecuador.
Can you imagine what plastic surgery would be like over there?
Obviously it's a killer.
Wow. That was good. You're smooth. I can't get past the thing you said about Duran Duran. I'm just still, I got Hungry Like the Wolf and all these other songs going through my head right now. So, yeah, I took some good meds while we were on break, folks, as you can tell. A little bit more mellowed out now. But like I said before the break, I said I was going to talk very briefly, just an actual news story. House voted today 218 to 209, so really close, to freeze Obama's delayed deportation program. That would freeze a 2012 program allowing illegal immigrants who came to the U.S. as children to apply for work permits. And of course, it fell along party lines. However, 26 Republicans voted against the amendment. So there we go. They're starting out real strong, aren't they? And then adoption of the amendment onto a $40 million base funding bill for the Department of Homeland Security makes it unlikely to pass the Senate, where it will need 60 votes to advance. And then the best part of this story is this one guy out of Illinois, and I mean, this guy is just plain scum. Representative Luis Gutierrez, always talking about, I mean, this guy is rabid. He wants, I think he wants the whole country to be Mexico, basically, Mexico too. He says, he's taunting Republicans saying, does it mean anything to you anymore? Don't you care about the children? Because that is precisely what you are saying today. You know what, Representative Gutierrez? I'm going to tell you something right now. No, I don't care about the kids. They're not our kids. Those are Mexican kids. Let Mexico take care of those kids. That's where they came from, or wherever else they came from in South America. Those are not our children. Now, Luis Gutierrez, how much do you care about all the children that are murdered every year in this country in the name of a woman's or abortion? It's a woman's right, a woman's, control over her own body and stuff like that. You care about those children, Representative Luis Gutierrez? How about all the black-on-black violence resulting in dead black kids in Chicago, which is in Illinois, on a daily, if not weekly basis? What about all that? How does that do? How many more tens of millions of poor do we have to subsidize from Mexico? How many more do we have to do that? He is a plain racist, and he's a scumbag. I'm just going to say that right now. He wants this whole La Raza thing where all the Southwest territories are ceded back to Mexico because they think we took them illegally and without fair pay and stuff like this. I mean, you know what? Maybe he had to go do something in Mexico. Maybe he had to be a representative in Mexico and see how well that works out for it. But anyway, those are not our kids. We shouldn't be taking care of them. Of course, we know we're going to end up doing it. My rant is for naught. But still, those are not our kids. And you know what? If he wants to help them, then why doesn't he dig deep in his pocketbook? And why doesn't he help them out and stuff? But of course, that's easier to say than, for a liberal to do. There's my rant.
Well, are you noticing a trend? I mean, with Gutierrez and Carson, and when I say Carson, I'm talking about the Muslim representative that we now have that Nancy Pelosi wants to appoint to the House Intelligence
Select Committee on Intelligence. Yeah.
We are in the beginning stages, folks, of electing and putting in place people who have publicly stated that they want to use our laws and our government system against us. And that is exactly what they are doing. They have infiltrated our government. We have allowed them to be placed in positions of authority, and we are no longer holding them accountable for some of the things that they're doing. The things that Gutierrez is talking about 30 or 40 years ago would have gotten him lambasted, would have gotten him possibly dismissed for treasonous behavior.
Right. But of course that makes him a hero now. In many camps around the United States, that makes him a hero.
Like out in California, he's a good bathroom candidate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good bathroom candidate.
I'm gonna roll with them tonight. But we really are. We're allowing these people, and they are doing so successfully. And I was reading an article the other day where more and more Democrats are moving out of the Northeast and moving into states like Texas and Florida and other key states, key red states.
Well, they did that successfully with Colorado, very successfully with Colorado, and look what a screwed up state that is now. They very successfully did that, and you're right. They're moving into Texas. Texas, you're not as safe as you think you are. Well, you already know Austin is weird, and Austin is totally off the left hook. But, I mean, and now you got this big Islam thing, pro-Islam rally going on in Garland. You got this stuff happening all over your state.
And you've got the training camp in Sweeney.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at your mayor. It's not Islam, but look at your mayor of Houston. Holy smokes. What's going on down there, Texas? Come on.
Well, I think a lot of Texans didn't know about all of this. You know, I mean, this is not something that, these are not scenarios that people go out and publicly state. They come out vicariously through another outlet. Just like all of this with the training camps here. Thanks, Dianne Feinstein. As much of a moron as I think you are, you did bring public attention to the fact that we do have training camps. We've got them in Texas. We've got them in Florida. We've got them in Georgia. We've got them in Michigan. We have them in South Carolina.
New York State,
We've got them in Tennessee, West Virginia. Yes, we do have them.
The enemy is here, folks, and they are among us. Don't you ever doubt it.
And what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because I was listening to a young man, not a young man, a gentleman speak in regards to that. He wrote a book about all of it because he traveled to all of these training camps. Some of them have been here for 9 years. 9 years. And so he's written a book about it, and he was very clear. He says, you go into these places, and unlike other, religious locations, where you can go in and kind of, they allow you to walk in, they don't even let you in these places. They're surrounded by armed guards. They're very hostile if you approach them, and they are very choosy about where they choose these pieces of land. They are choosing, like the one in Sweeney, Texas, from what I understand, it only has 4 police officers in the whole county. So, of course, those 4 police officers are not going to go take on a whole Muslim encampment of training jihadis.
Right.
And, of course, our federal government is doing nothing. Nothing. But I'm going to tell you, they sit there and say, oh, well, we can't do anything. They're not doing anything illegal. That didn't stop you from going to Waco.
I was just going to say something about Waco, Texas. Yeah. Seems like he was just dealing in some guns and stuff. That was the primary reason that they said. It sure
didn't stop Ruby Ridge.
Sure did not. You're right. Waco, Ruby Ridge. You're exactly right. Boy, people don't talk about those anymore, do they?
No, they do not. But I recall them vividly.
Oh yeah, when those tanks went into the building there in Waco and it started on fire and all those kids and women were still in there and how many of them ended up dying and stuff like that, just incinerated.
And what was the excuse for that? Do you remember the reason that they said that they had to act on this?
Well, I know initially it all started because he was dealing in some firearms, and I think he sold a shotgun, or had possession of a shotgun that was like a 3/4 of an inch shorter. I don't know. There was some weapons things that they were trying to get him on. But then I think they tried to say it was, about the safety of the kids in there, and they alleged, and I don't know if it's true or not, that he was having sexual relations with a lot of the women, and it was just supposed to be a mess and stuff like that.
Well, that's what they came out with later. Initially, It was because they thought that they were running guns and providing a militia training, anti-government training ground.
Correct. Yeah. I'm thinking of Ruby Ridge. Ruby Ridge is where he got in trouble because he tried to sell a shotgun that was like an inch too short or something like that. You're exactly correct.
I mean, they went after several groups, like up in Montana. I mean, they really went. The federal government really went after the American citizen that they suspected of being not constitutionalist. In all honesty, exerting their constitutional right. However, you've got people in this country that have complete ties to people who have spoken up and said, we are going to come after you. They're training here. They're gaining arms here. You know what they're doing. Your police officers won't even go there. but they're okay. Those guys are all right. I think you're a bunch of chickens. I mean, I would say more than that, but I am on air.
Right. We have to be a little careful. But no, it's just like this whole, and this goes into my next, what the F, okay? Obama plans to restrain media offensiveness to Islam, and he said, well, his spokesmouth, Josh Earnest, totally misnamed, has a moral responsibility to do so because, we don't want them upsetting people from Islam and stuff. And, of course, they have to worry about right-wing radicals. And, of course, we know flat out they're insinuating Tea Party types, anti-government people, whatever you want to call them, on the right. That are the real big problem, much more of a problem, of course, than Islam ever will be. And that goes right along with it because they're not saying that Islam is the problem here, but it's always the government's always going after these right-wing, the vast right-wing conspiracy, all the Tea Party types and the anti-tax people and the pro-gunners and, whatever you want to call them, bitter clingers. Obama has referred to us as bitter clingers. Yeah, you're darn right I'm bitter clinging to my guns and my Bible. Got a problem with that? I mean, you better cling to your Quran and whatever else it is. I don't even want to speculate.
Reggie.
Reggie. Like I said, I didn't want to speculate, but I mean, but in their minds, in their sick minds, we are the enemy.
Well,
American
the fact of the
citizens.
He is trying to trample on our First Amendment rights. That's all well and good until somebody actually, goes to jail. But these idiots in the media are not calling him out on it.
No.
And that's the true WTF. Because you fools don't understand the way you make your living is from speaking what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And he is fixing to tell you cannot do that. Guess what? I'm going to do it. And when you come here, come deep.
Yeah, the media is very troubling. I mean, to fully gain control of something, you need to have control of the media. Well, guess what, folks? Except for folks like us out here, and there are a lot of others, kind of guerrilla newsmakers and stuff like that. Nobody, I mean, think about it. All your major stations, and I'm lumping Fox right in with them. Think about the stuff they're spewing out every day, and people are taking for gospel truth. Your low and no information voters that know more about sports scores and all kinds of other manner of stuff that really doesn't matter in the long run. Think about what the information that they're getting. Think what they're being fed. Basically, your news media, for the most part, all your major stations are in lockstep with the regime. Now, you've heard of Pravda, and we always used to make fun of Pravda like in the 80s, because that was the regime's mouthpiece for the Soviets. And I think what we've got nowadays makes Pravda look kind of tame by comparison because of the way that they can get people, because of their access to them 24/7, whether it be by that or on the internet and stuff like that. So I think they're able to do things and able to get to people more than Pravda back in the day ever could have dreamed of doing, or even Hitler with Goebbels and the propaganda machine that they had at that time in the 30s and 40s in Germany. I mean, I just think it's amazing, and people are taking all this stuff that they're being fed, and they don't look they just take it at face value.
Well, I mean, you sit here and say that, you're including Fox News into it because, typically they're lockstep with them. And if you take the opportunity to view the various news outlets in the cable forum, and, in the public forum, and quite honestly, you find they're all continuing, every now and again they'll have something a little different, just a little touch, like Greta Van Susteren when she was, covering Sergeant Andrew Tamarisi. She was basically the only one talking about it. No one else was discussing it. So every now and again you'll find something like that. But for the most part, I don't care if you're looking at HLN, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, you're hearing the same repetitive crap all day long.
Fox News is nothing like it was when it first came on the scene back in the late 90s. Nothing whatsoever. O'Reilly has toned down and tamed down. He was always kind of centrist anyway, I think. But I'll tell you, back in the day, and I've got a ton of his books. I'm eyeballing them right now. I mean, I really enjoyed him. They had Glenn Beck back in the day. And, I mean, Glenn, God love him with his blackboards and stuff. And the Islam thing. man, he was laying it out. And Van Jones and the communist aspect, he was just laying it all out in a manner that everybody can understand. They had some great stuff. Hannity, even back at that point, was fairly conservative, and just tons of good news. But they have moderated so much. I know people are saying because they're partially controlled now, or I guess a majority control by some Saudis and stuff like that, that's part of the reason. I don't know what the reason is, but I'm just telling you, they have watered it down so much. I haven't watched them for 5 or 6 years. I figure I'm ahead of the curve here, but I haven't watched them. Occasionally I'll turn it on or something like that, but no, I don't get much information from them anymore whatsoever.
Well, I mean, you and I have also gone to other sources to get our news anymore. But it's amazing to me that as we scour the internet, all of this immediate news, which should be actually breaking news for the most part, never makes it to cable TV that is live 24/7.
No.
Never makes it there.
Right.
How many times have we done a story on this show that we have heard it a week later in the news?
I'm pretty proud to say in the last 3.5, 4 months we've been on the air, the total time we've been on the air, I can think of several times that we've done it now. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's things that, we read and we know it's out there. I mean, the Associated Press, yes, a lot of their writers are liberal, and they have that agenda. But if you read the articles, and yes, there is a lot of reading in it, but if you read the articles, there is newsworthy information in there quite frequently. And, and it's totally bypassed. And good and doggone well, they've got 20, 30 people sitting there supposed to be doing what we do every day, and they don't.
Well, or they do, but they've got... these people are not unintelligent people. But they've got an agenda. That's what it is. And they're going to force only one thing down the throat of the American public, who are very willing to accept it. I mean, there's no doubt about that. A great many of them, obviously not all. Some people are turned on, switched on, know what's happening, haven't drank the Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call it. But like I said, for most people, they just digest it like pablum or Soylent Green, There's a random thing for you. But I mean, really, a lot of people just, okay, if like I said, if the media says it, and that's why I kind of jokingly have started to say tonight, if Jose Estevez says it, it's the truth. It's probably going to be the truth more than anything you're going to find on ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, blah, 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 name any of those stations. And you know what? And I've said right on the air even before, if we come across something that shows that it may not be true or maybe not quite the way we presented it, I'll come flat out and tell you, folks, I'm not perfect. And I'd rather you get good information. But once again, everything we do, you can find it out there. It's definitely out there in a lot of our big stories. We give you the references and stuff. Look it up yourself. Don't take me for... But I have no agenda. I just want to talk about what's going on and how concerned we are, and sometimes we add a little humor or whatever we do with it.
Well, you're absolutely right. Hey, Senor.
Yes.
You ready for you recall yesterday we discussed that Marco Rubio had been tossing about whether or not he was going to run for 2016.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Well, today it comes out that he co-sponsored a bill to expand worker visas infinitely.
Yes. Rubio. D after his name, folks. Don't you doubt
we
it.
We don't have enough issues with our poorest borders. We don't have enough issues with our own economic woes and our own unemployment numbers. Let's face it, they can doctor the numbers all they want to, but it doesn't stop the fact that if you live in a Hispanic community, you're running about 13% unemployment. If you live in a black community, you're running about 19% unemployment. If you live in a white community, and these are their statistics, you're running about 6% unemployment. But when you add in the folks that have no jobs or are underemployed, that have fallen off the rolls, and then you add in the 5+ million that they've allowed over the border lately, our numbers skyrocket to like 30%. So then we go over to China and we say, oh, okay, well, we're going to add another 200,000 of your tech people to be able to come over here and stay longer. And now Marco Rubio, potential presidential candidate that he is, has co-sponsored a bill to expand and offer even more people work visas and not put the 5-year limit on them like you would find on those from China, or the 10-year limit that it was expanded to, but make it indefinite.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are, they say, oh, well, we need them for tech positions. Well, let's see, Americans don't need tech jobs, and Americans won't do field work. So why do we have Americans? Because that's some lazy, pompous people. Just, the Chinese and South Americans can fill those positions. What do you need us for? Oh, that's right, to pay taxes.
And we talked about Rubio last night. He was a no-starter for me even before this. But yeah, here he comes out with this, folks. I mean, really? I don't understand. Do they really believe what they're saying? Or are they just out for the absolute fundamental transformation, a.k.a. destruction of the United States as the constitutional republic it was created? That's a serious question. Do they really believe what they're saying? Or are they actually all working together in some respect to destroy the country? Fundamentally transform, let's say.
You have to consider the fact that there is some kind of plan. Because none of these folks, until they hit Washington, D.C., think like this. They don't. Marco Rubio, when he was down in Miami, Florida, he was not thinking like this. All of these congressmen and all of these senators, even these new freshmen, they were, when they're out there, they're diehard. Everything in their life is geared toward what they're saying, everything available. And then there is a meeting or something that occurs the minute they enter Washington, D.C., and all of a sudden it's like, oh, crap, well, how am I going to hold on to what I said versus what I now know?
You have to question it. You have to question what is going on here, because it's too much to be a coincidence over and over and over. Anyway.
Why don't you tell us about that college thing you got kicking over there?
Here's one for you folks. Duke University. Well, folks, Duke University has succumbed as well. They're going to play nice in the sandbox with all the Koranimals, because they're going to start playing the Muslim call to prayer on Fridays on campus at Duke University. What the F? Wow. Oh, now remember, according to the Zippy the Muslim whisperer in the White House, that's the most beautiful sound in the world, is the Muslim call to prayer. So evidently Duke University took him at his word, and they're going to be doing it every Friday on campus.
Well,
wow.
You want to hear this to go along with that? Oxford University warns authors on campus not to write about bacon or pork to avoid offending Muslims.
Can't even write about it. They're not telling you not to fix it or cook it or anything, folks. They're telling you, oh my gosh, not to write about it.
So if you were writing a story, if you're an author and you were writing a book, and part of that book was about your breakfast this morning, I guess you would have to say, well, I had eggs, toast, and oatmeal, because you couldn't say I have eggs, toast, and bacon.
And we're laughing about it, folks, but this is true stuff that's happening in your world. In our world, this is actually happening right now.
Oh, and then you've got the Huffington Post saying the real threat to Europe is not Islamic terrorists. It is not the no-go zones that are Sharia law implemented illegally against those nations' legal laws. That's not the problem. You know what the problem is? Just like that idiot in the White House The problem is that right. That right is just, we are just horrible, horrible people.
Of course. Oh, of course. I mean, everything bad in the world can be attributed to the right. Surely, that's that's about right.
Wonder what they would do without us. Seriously, I am wondering what would happen if every conservative in this nation, every patriot, every militia member said, "You know what? I'm not going to work for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I'm not doing anything. Y'all like to know what it's like to be without us? Let's find out what it's like to be without us." I really wish that we were able to just sit back and let the sparks fly. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd like to let it go for about 6 months. But I know that that's not feasible. But just for 2 weeks, everybody sits home. Nobody goes to work.
Right. Well, they can ponder that while we go to break, V. And so, folks, do what V said. While we're at break, ponder what would a world be like with no liberals. Imagine. We'll be back in a minute.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really, really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C., and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do. And when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
The most amazing thing about the Ford Fusion isn't the way it looks. The most amazing thing is the way it sees. With blind spot technology, a lane keeping system, and a standard rear view camera, the Fusion is ready for whatever comes your way. Go prepared. Go further.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here. We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
Broken. Rated PG-13. Christmas Day.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want? No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning.
Black Hat. Rated R.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back, everybody. It's What the F Wednesday. I am V. Wright.
And I'm Jose Estevez. Welcome back to the second hour, folks. What the F Wednesday indeed.
Well, senor, I've got a what the F for you.
Do you?
Yes. Our friend, Mr. Ernst, the presidential mouthpiece.
Oh, yeah. Why did they... Ernest. I mean, you couldn't make up anything more than somebody that lies for a living, and his last name is Ernest.
Spinner extraordinaire.
Yes, that's a nice way of putting it. I just call him a liar.
Says that the reason that they do not refer to the Paris attacks as radical Islamic terrorists is because, quote unquote, it does not seem to accurately describe what happened. Seriously?
What does he think accurately describes? Did he go on? Did he elaborate further?
He did not. He did not.
Well, of course not. He would just throw that out there and leave it as that at that.
It does not accurately describe what happened. What would you say? How else could you describe that scenario?
Well, I just think that, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this, folks. Amish violence is out of control. You know, they're killing in Paris. They're just out of control. I don't know if it's Rumspringa gone bad or they got into some bad hayseeds or something like that. But I mean, it must be Amish terrorism that's the cause of all of our problems in the world today. I mean, can it get any more ludicrous than me saying that? Yes, it can. Listen to your spokesperson for the President of the United States. I mean, really?
Well,
and they expect people to buy this, and guess what? There's a reason for that, because people are buying it.
Well, then I've got another WTF for you, too. You remember Monday when the anti-Islamists in Germany stood up to the 100,000, the 25 to 30,000 anti-Islamists stood up to, excuse me, God bless me, stood up to the Muslims and the Muslim sympathizers in Germany. That was Monday. They were outnumbered 4-1. Guess who was standing with the Muslims and the Muslim sympathizers?
Oh, I know. Tell the folks. I read it.
Angela Merkel.
Yeah. President of Germany. Or whatever she's... Yeah, president.
And then she made the statement that said, Muslims belong to Germany. Well, you think Hitler thought so, too?
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Yeah, she's coming right out. She's coming out against the anti-Islamists, just like our Zippy the Muslim Whisperer is going to do too. Because remember our earlier show, our earlier story just tonight. He plans to restrain media offensiveness to Islam. He has a moral responsibility to do so. Folks, I don't think we even know what's coming in the next 2 years. I don't think we have a grasp on what we're going to see in the next 2 years. And we just let it happen and happen and happen. We talk about it. We tweet about it. We, interact with each other, but we don't do a doggone thing about it. We let them keep doing the same old thing. And they are emboldened, and I just think it's going to get crazy.
Oh, well, it is going to get crazy. We had this situation occurring in Garland, Texas on Saturday.
Right.
If we've got any opportunity at all to squash their little egos and the strides that they think that they have made, it will be done then and there.
We broke that story here, but I think they bit off more than they could chew, because apparently the building that they're using is actually owned or leased by the school in that area, and I guess the school is getting calls and emails like crazy about people saying, you're not doing it on any school property. You won't let us have our 10 Commandments, pray in schools, nothing like that. You're sure not going to have a pro-Islam rally, etc., whatever it's called, on school property. So if it goes down in the first place, I don't think I think there's going to be a lot of people that are protesting, but it sounds like an enormous amount of pressure is being applied on the school district down there.
Well, my mother called, and she was told that they had met the requirements and criteria for leasing for an event.
That, I'm telling you, this is but you know what? The information's getting out thanks to social media. People are getting engaged, and hopefully there'll be a good contingent down there if it does go ahead, which it sounds like at this point it still will, but hopefully there'll be a good contingent of anti-Islamists. Of course, you're going to be called Islamophobes, you're going to be called racist, you're going to get called every name under the book, but it sounds like there's going to be a lot of people down there finally stepping up and speaking out, and I believe it'll be peaceful, and I believe people will just say, though, that not here, not in our backyard, we're done with this. And I hope so. I hope that's the way it goes down.
I don't know how many people are going to go, but I know that
there's a lot of talk, though, across social media.
There, and I hope that people go out en masse. I hope that the listeners, if you are within a 4 or 5 hour radius, that you go, because it is a day trip. It's not till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. It'll probably be over by 8 or 9 at night. You can drive home. It's not an overnight stay. I say that at probably at best.
Go hang out with some fellow patriots for a good cause. I don't know what the weather will be in Garland. I know it's a little bit chillier. They're having their heaping helping of global warming as well as the rest of the country is at this point. But I can't imagine there's going to be a bunch of ice and snow on the ground, although you never know. But go on out, folks. Get together with some other like-minded people for a good cause. I mean, if I was any closer, heck, like I said, I'd go. Just so I could take advantage of Whataburger and some good old Texas barbecue. There's my stomach thinking again. But
what the F?
well, there's no question about that. I mean, that's just food, especially the stuff that's very unhealthy. Hey, going along with that story, another what the F, but maybe not so much for people in New York City. In New York City, there are, exactly 52,131 authorized medallion drivers. You have to have this medallion to be a legitimate driver in New York City. And so there's 52,131 authorized medallion drivers of taxis and limos in New York City. Boy, that's a lot of taxi and limo drivers. Folks, take a guess for the Daily Double. What is the most common first name of those 52,131 authorized medallion drivers? If you guess Mohammed, you would be correct. That is the number one most common first name. And, interestingly enough, the most common top three surnames, so last names. Singh is number one, S-I-N-G-H, so Indian. Rahman, R-A-H-M-A-N is number two. And Islam is the number three most popular last name of authorized medallion drivers of taxis and limos in New York City. Kind of a surprise to me, but probably not so much for those of you who are in New York City or have spent time there, which another place I haven't gone and probably am unlikely to do so. But Mohammed, number one most common first name.
Isn't that crazy?
That's 52,131.
I read globally. Muhammad is like the third name globally.
Yeah, and it's all over the place, country after country after country. It's the top name. Folks, you better start paying attention and thinking about it.
Well,
and you know what? All the appeasers and all of those that say, folks, I hope you're not a woman or gay, because they're the first two type of people they go after first. And have submit to them, and usually not just submit, called killing you. that sort of thing, or treating you very poorly, shall we say, look at it country after country. Don't take my word for it. Why don't you look it up? What I say is true, folks. You think that's going to change here in the United States when they get to be, the biggest, what am I trying to say here, V? The biggest group of people, biggest ethnicity?
They have the largest population. Yeah.
Yeah. You think just because it's America, that's going to change? You got another thing coming, folks.
Well,
even the founding fathers knew about what was going on years and years ago. What was it? Thomas Jefferson sent the Marines in to the Barbary pirates. Hence, part of the Marine hymn, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. The shores of Tripoli, folks, was talking about fighting the Barbary pirates, a.k.a. the Muslims. That's right in the Marines' hymn.
That's
how big of a deal
true.
It was.
Because they knew the Crusades never ended, and anybody with any amount at all of intelligence understands that these folks do not see that the Crusade ever ended. They will desire absolutely and stop at nothing less than global caliphate.
Mm-hmm. As crazy as Glenn Beck seems to get sometimes, he called it, I said it earlier on the broadcast, he called it about this and had it all out on the boards and laid it out, the caliphate and the history of it all and everything. He just nailed it. That was one thing he was so right on, and nobody had ever really been talking about it in public. It was not, as now, not a popular subject. You're labeled a racist, which is inaccurate. It's not a race. Or now they call you Islamophobes and stuff like that. But I'm telling you what, I'm going to give him credit where credit's due, because he nailed it over and over, night after night, when he was on Fox, about that in a very easy to understand format for the common person. And he was one of the few that wasn't afraid to speak out about it and talk about it.
Well, I mean, it is a hazard. I remember probably a year ago, people asked me, what do you think the greatest threats are to this nation? And I recall saying at that time, we have two that are probably on equal level that need to be handled before all others, and that is stopping the Islamics and closing our borders. Then we handle everything else internally. And of course, it was argued with me. Oh no, we need to get jobs, and we need to get people off welfare, and we need to get a handle on our government. What we need to get a handle on first are those that are coming in with no allegiance to this country, no accountability to its citizens, and get a handle on those people. Then we can deal with those that are in D.C. that perpetrate treason.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, and you're exactly right. A lot of those other things would follow if you dealt with those issues, especially, the closing of the border, removing people who are here illegally, who never should have been here in the first place, things like this. A lot of the other things would kind of follow in a natural sort of flow, once you had that sort of thing going. Yeah, but I don't see it happening, of course. Obviously, I see them doubling down, and so far the Republicans seem to be spineless to stop them, much less slow them down.
John Boehner is not a moderate.
Yeah, you're right. He's an alcoholic Democrat. And that's why our story last night, folks, which should also be a what the F. If you didn't catch it last night, there was a murder plot that Boehner's, now you can't make this up, folks, that Boehner's bartender was going to kill him by poisoning his drink. Now, think about John Boehner, folks. What's the first thing that you know of him that would be the best way to get the guy? I mean, through his alcohol. Wow, you can't even make it up.
Now, I never did hear if that guy had somebody that he knew that had gotten into Ebola, and that's why he thought that.
Right, I don't know what the deal is. I think he was just, tell you the truth, reading the story, I think the guy was just maybe 5 cans short of a 6-pack. No. Just a little over the edge there. But yeah, once again, there's a what the F for you. Hey, V, we got special news.
What's that?
Oh, my goodness. Happy birthday to you. Folks, she's 51 years old, still lives with her mom, and hasn't found a man. Michelle Obama's going to turn 51 in 3 days. What I want to know is, how many years is that in Wookiee years? And for her 51st birthday, the DNC, of course, the shameless money grabbers that they are. The Democratic National Committee is trying to raise money. So if you sign a card for Michelle that she'll get on her birthday, wishing her happy birthday, you can donate up to $2,000 as well to the Democrat National Committee. 51 years old, lives with her mom, still hasn't found herself a real man. Wow. Happy birthday. Oh, can you? There's so much more I can say, but I probably shouldn't.
Go for it.
No, well,
what the F Wednesday.
I've already gone quite far. Some people have even claimed that she may be a man herself. I don't know. I mean, that's crazy talk, isn't it? I don't know. Come on.
Yeah, and you wonder why the people that you meet say, you've got factual information. You sound good on the radio, but your partner, she's crazy.
She's crazy. Yeah, that's true story right there, folks. Like, I'm the moderate here, and your partner, she's crazy. So, yep. V says, yep, guilty as charged.
Hey, I'll own it. I believe in my country. I believe in limits.
Amen.
I not only do it. As a matter of fact, if I had my way with it, we would still be living a survivalist with a survivalist mentality. To each his own. You either rise or fall on your own doings. And if you go hungry and you go without, oh, well, you should have held on to your family.
Wasn't there something about the grasshopper, or wasn't there a parable about that or something with, one was working and gathering? And I mean, throughout history, there's been things like that. You don't work, you don't eat. Wasn't there, all these parables and then all these little stories and stuff throughout history? I mean, it's just kind of, I think for the most part throughout history, been like that. You know what? If you can't survive on the fittest, you can't take care of yourself, you're not willing to take care of yourself, why should anybody else take care of you?
Well, I mean, it is. This government has been the destruction of a family union in so many ways, and people, they don't, look at the bigger issue there. But there was a time when, if you had problems, you reached out to your family and you maintained those relationships with your family. And if for some reason you didn't have family, you developed true, genuine friendships and relations with your neighbors and those that were around you. You went to church because if something occurred, even for those that went for whatever reason, at the end of the day, they knew there was comfort in knowing if my house burnt down today, the people of the church would come help me rebuild it. If my husband died today, the people of the church would help me feed my children until I could figure out what else I needed to do. That whole family unit was destroyed by welfare. Mm-hmm. Then we had, now we have 14, 15-year-old girls getting pregnant, and they're going to the welfare office and saying, I can't live with my parents. So they're putting them in public housing. The 14, 15-year-old girls have no business being parents to begin with. They have no clue what they're doing. They don't have the emotional maturity to understand or deal with the stress involved in having a child. And then we're going to put them in their own house so that they can have more kids. They're not old enough to sign a contract, but they can sign a welfare card.
Right.
I mean,
that's a great point.
Destruction of the entire family unit. And you want to know why families aren't, the husbands or baby daddies aren't involved? How many 14, 15-year-old baby daddies do you think are mature enough to deal with all of that stress?
Oh, not a one. And we know girls develop quicker than boys anyway. So not a one is able to handle that stress. I mean, there's lots of grown men that can't. But you know what? Your point is well taken, and it's absolutely true. Destruction of the family unit, because who's going to take over the part of your mother and father? The benevolent pictures I've seen from the 40s and 50s, folks, in Soviet Russia, the government, Stalin, Joe Stalin, these are your parents. We'll take care of you. The government will take care of you. And that's exactly what we're seeing here now. We can do it better than your parents can. Your parents are foolish. Your parents are stupid. They don't know what's best for you. Your government is benevolent.
They don't understand you. They
and they know,
understand.
right? They know how to reach these kids, and they're doing it through social media. They're bombarding them every day through TV, through every way we can imagine. Sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly. But they're saying that your parents are foolish. Your parents, if they're old fashioned, quote unquote old fashioned, have these things where you take care of yourself, you work and stuff like that. Oh, those are old fashioned notions. That's not the way it needs to be. And they're very successful at this because they're reaching these kids when they're at their most vulnerable. And doggone it, it's child abuse. Just like bringing all these kids from South America and the ones that are coming from Mexico and tempting them, bringing them up here to the United States. It's child abuse, man. They're doing it to the most vulnerable. But then, of course, they say, you got to do it for the children. I mean, they are sick. It is a sick mentality that thinks like that. But that's exactly what they do. And they get these kids in on it. And that's, of course, where you get your public education. So you can start indoctrinating them from day one. Now your kids don't even go to school for kindergarten and preschool. They go for preschool, pre-kin. They go, I think they can start going like at 3 years old. You think that's because they want to raise your kids upright and make them good and stuff like that? You think it's helping the kids better? Why don't you look at what's going on, folks, so they can have them 6 to 8 hours a day and continue to indoctrinate them?
Amen to
Oh,
that.
my word.
But,
are there good teachers out there? You're doggone right there's good teachers out there. But they're using this Common Core. Your kids don't learn how to do cursive anymore. Folks, why do you think they wouldn't want your kids to learn cursive? What's so wrong about learning how to do cursive? First of all, the act of writing itself is it has some therapeutic things to it, but it's also very good. The hand-eye coordination and stuff that you're never going to get from playing video games or typing, out your papers on a computer. All these things that they're taking away that we took for granted when we were young, that's just the way you did it. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some good teachers out there, but the curriculums that they're using, the books that they're using and stuff, it's all bent at dumbing down the kids and flat out giving them wrong information. Wrong information.
Well, I've got a question for you. Now, you have a child who is in that vicinity of preteen, early teen era.
Right.
Now, can you imagine her going out in that world and getting her HUD housing and all of that and trying to function in a household? Can you imagine how successful that household would be?
Not successful at all, because they're taught that everything you do is provided for you. You don't have to really do anything, and that is and it's just downright wrong. It's a lie to them in the first place. I mean, V, I don't know about you. I moved out of the house when I was late 20s, all the way from Texas to Michigan. And guess what? One day I was living at home. Literally 2-3 days later, I was out. I was, how many states away is that? How many thousands of miles? That was before cell phones. Well, that were practical to have. I couldn't just call home to mommy all the time. And sadly, and I'll flat out admit it, at 20, I really didn't know how to do my own laundry or anything. Sadly, and that's not necessarily my parents' fault, because there were a lot of other things I knew how to do. But simply, you're just cast. You're cast into the big world. Sink or swim. Exactly, sink or swim. And guess what? I sank for a long time, or treaded. I won't say I sank. Treaded water for a long time. But guess what? The first thing I did was, and of course, I already had a work ethic. Been working since a young age. Number one thing: get a job. You're going to be work second shift, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's 3 to 11 typically, that type of a shift. So late afternoon, evening and stuff. Working, number one thing. There's a lot of things that you don't have and you can't afford. But guess what? Every week, little successes. Got to pay certain bills. Got to pay my rent. Got to pay this stuff. But then, okay, now I need salt and pepper shakers. I mean, all these things that you take for granted when you're older because you got probably 4 or 5 sets of them. Or you got the money, you can go down and buy. But all these things, and I don't think kids nowadays have any idea of any of that, how they would do that.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking, beyond the material possessions. Okay, fine. The government has given you a place to live. They provided for your financial needs in that you have electric, you have water. They've provided your shelter. In addition to that, they've provided you with the means to feed yourself, so you don't have to worry about all that. I'm just thinking about the typical, say, 12 to 14 or 12 to 16-year-old girl. I'll go 12 to 16. That a baby cries night after night, every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. And then you think that during the day, okay, I'm going to stay up all night. It's no big deal. Then then they do it all day long, and then they do it all night long, and then they do it all day long. You don't have anyone to sit there and assist you with that. Children that age are not built to deal with that kind of stress.
Right. Hey, V, we've got to take a break, but let's keep on. I know it's kind of getting a little serious, folks, but I think it's a good conversation. We'll pick it up as soon as we come out of break. If you have anything you would like to say in the last half hour of the show, please call us at 313-462-0068. We would love to talk to you about your experiences or any what the Fs you may have. We've got a few of those left, too, before the night's out. We'll be right back.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really, really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C. and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do. And when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max Hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here. We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
The moment you connect, you're no longer in control.
What does this guy want?
No claim, no statement.
We're facing a nuclear meltdown.
This is only the beginning.
Black Hat, rated R.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back, everybody. It's What the F Wednesday. I am V. Wright.
And I'm Jose Estevez. Welcome back, folks, to the last segment of tonight's What the F show. Hey, folks, before this, we were having a great little conversation. Hopefully you were enjoying it as well before we went. And V had asked the question about kids, surviving on their own. And we were kind of going off on the education system, the public education system. And, just my personal experience, V, and I don't know if I said it wrong. It's possible I did. I moved out of my house when I was not in my late 20s. I wasn't one of them. When I was in my 20th year, late in that year, before I turned 21. So that's kind of a big disclaimer there. I wasn't one of those living in my parents' basement until I was in my late 20s.
I left home at 18.
But also, part of growing up, like I said, getting out on my own, and I was so far away from my parents, so I couldn't rely on them for a whole lot of stuff. It was before, internet and easy communications through cell phones and stuff like that, or texting, Skype, whatever you use. But I slept literally in a house with a bunch of other guys for, I think it was a couple winters in Michigan, on a major lake in Michigan, in what was somebody's cottage. It had walls made out of masonite, and I slept on the porch, which was a room that I rented, but it was, for all intents and purposes, it was on the porch, a screened in, not just screened in, but had windows and stuff. But it was part of the front porch of the house, and you talk about cold. But I mean, that's the way it was. It wasn't, I'm going to start out at the top. It was, what, if I want to get there, I got to work my butt off. And I am proud to say to this day that every job I've had since I started having jobs where you pay taxes, and my first job doing that was at McDonald's, which a lot of people have done, I can honestly say that every job I've had since then, until this time in my life, I have constantly improved myself. And that means a better job, more responsibilities, and more pay. Every single job I've had, I have made, and you know what, folks? It's hard work. It's something I had to work at. I never had anything given to me. I had to work hard for those jobs to get them, first of all, talking to people about what's available and stuff. But every job I've had, I've made more money and had increasingly better responsibilities, which also equates to, better hours and stuff like that. And just all around better. But I have to say that ever since I've been working, but it's not been without a lot of work. And I have worked every day of my life since I was 15 when I got my first job, other than just, being sick and those sort of things. But I've never had long periods of unemployment, nothing like that. I have worked my entire life. And I think there's a whole generation of kids out there, I know there are, that do not want to do that. And I don't think would be able to do that if they tried.
Well, we've discussed it many times before. When I was a kid, my parents worked, and the kids were in charge of taking up the house. Of course, on the weekends, my mother would, do laundry and clean the house to her standards, not the kids' standards. But never once did my mother ever concern herself with someone showing up unexpectedly at the door and the house being a mess. That would have been our behinds. I can tell you that real quick. My mother believed in the belt, the brush, and the switch. So
sounds a lot like my parents.
But and when they said something, they meant it. But I'm going to tell you something about my parents. My parents, they didn't play any golf. You sit here and you have all these kids that they've got to have a car at 16. So the parents give them a car. They don't know how to change a tire. They don't know how to change the oil. They don't know what anything is underneath the hood. They don't even know what half the little lights mean that come on the inside of the vehicle. When we were kids, before we could do any of that, we had to know how to do all those things. Mm-hmm. You weren't taking, the car if you did not know how to do those things.
Well, I'm not going to say much more about that story. Because my mom and dad at some point are going to hear this broadcast. And
Well, I'm going to tell you the other thing my parents did, and that was, number one, my parents lived by the rule of, it wasn't their job to put us in college. If you wanted to go to college, you either worked and put yourself through college,
that's true,
or you earned scholarships. But no, they were not going to take all these kids and put them through college. Some of them did not go. Some of them, some have master's degrees. So, we all managed to do what we needed to do. The other rule in my parents' house was, if you graduated high school and you continued to live at home, you paid rent.
Right, room and board. Yep.
And my parents' philosophy was that it's a whole lot cheaper to live at home than it was to move out, but you were going to pay, and if you didn't, you would be evicted.
I love it. Oh, wow.
I'm not kidding. They didn't play. It's Friday, pay up or get out. This is a week-to-week rental.
I like that.
And of course I did move out when I was 18. And, the college education I have, I paid for. I think that a couple of my siblings did take loans, but they did pay them back.
Right. Well, of course. That's what people do that are responsible. That's what responsible people do.
But as we were talking about this topic before the break, I just, all of a sudden it flashed in my mind. I know little girls that are 15 and 16 years old that get pregnant, and because their parents don't approve, or they don't want to live under their parents' roof anymore, because at that age they know everything. They've got it all figured out. We're a bunch of idiots. So they go out there and go to the welfare office, and the welfare puts them up in houses and everything else. Well, of course,
cash assistance, the whole works. Yeah.
Well, of course, these girls are never going to learn. And primarily, they did not get a reasonable example to begin with, but they are not going to develop functioning, well-established relationships, because they can get that attitude of, the government's providing everything for me, so why am I going to take anything from you? You aren't going to do anything for me.
Right.
You're not paying my bills. And they start that at, I've heard it at 18. And what is this with little kids? My brother worked in the public education system for 2 years as a teacher, and he taught elementary school. And he left because he got tired of hearing, "You ain't got to tell me what to do. My mama don't even tell me what to do."
Oh. Yeah, I remember us discussing that.
Seriously. And then he goes home and he's like, if you even think about talking to me like that, I'm going to beat you.
Right, yeah. Yeah, just even thinking about it. Well, you know what, V? It's almost quarter of the top of the hour, and we got to do some more fun stories and get the tempo up a little bit to leave people with something fun. I think you'll agree with that, correct?
Absolutely.
And we've definitely got some stories left. Hey, I've got a late arrival here. Hot off the presses, and boy, folks, this is a good one. Farmers in Wisconsin say goodbye to the bull who sired 500,000 offspring. To say this bull, a dairy legend with has a ravenous libido, would be an understatement, I believe. He is a 2,700-pound bull. That's over a ton for those of you that are working with communism core. That's about a ton and a half. 2,700-pound bull named Toy Story, a titan of artificial insemination who sired an estimated 500,000 offspring in more than 50 countries. And he finally succumbed to having a good life on Thanksgiving, apparently. And wow.
and I know some men who have tried to break his record.
I think, yeah. Oh my goodness, he had fans from Brazil to Japan. A neck 57 inches around, no cuddly show animal. He could produce sperm 9 times a week, about twice the average of other bulls. Meaner than a snake, they say. But wow, can you imagine? Wow.
Oh my gosh.
He was bought for $4,000 when he was 6 months old, and I'll tell you what, The people that bought him, I'm telling you what, they made a lot of money on this bull that they bought for $4,000. So, you know, do we say rest in peace? Yeah, you know what? Let's say rest in peace to Toy Story, because, boy, that's some sort of record there.
He fed millions.
Oh my goodness! I'm telling you what, that's something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got one for you. What the F? Iranian President Hassan Rouhani announced yesterday, I'm sorry, that Iran has broken ground on not one, but 2 new nuclear power plants.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, of course, you know, they want to say nuclear power plants. We know what that's all about, processing plutonium. And, of course, you know, the weasel in the White House has been having secret letters and secret meetings, so you know, love letters from the sky.
I'm telling you what, folks, that a nuclear Iran is going to be a big problem over there in the Middle East. And we were going to talk a little bit about oil and gas. I don't think we're going to get to it tonight, but Iran is firmly kind of in the middle of that, being a sworn enemy of Saudi Arabia, of course, as well as Israel, over there in the Middle East and stuff. We're not going to be able to get to that, but I mean, there's just so many bad things that come out of a nuclear Iran that it's not Iran's so far away. We've done that before. I'm not going to do that tonight. Old song in the 80s.
Well, instead of responding to Iran's, their expansion program there, this administration has, gone after Congress for introducing, for talking about upcoming bills to create additional sanctions against them for expanding nuclear capability. And I'm going to tell you folks something. If it's not blatantly obvious, there is nothing that this regime, or those in D.C. for the most part, except for a minute number, are doing that has any basis in the foundation of this nation. Everything is to erode it, destroy it, rid ourselves of it, and get more and more people to accept it and call for its demand.
Right.
That, that's the scary thing is they have. I was sitting here and I was watching the guy that goes out on the street for Bill O'Reilly. What's his name? Oh, goodness. I cannot recall.
I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while.
He goes out and he asks all kinds of questions. His latest one was he was, showing pictures, and one of the pictures was George Washington. And who was he? And these people have no idea. One young lady, I think he was the second president after Abraham Lincoln. I kid you not. I went, what the hell?
Yeah, one of those moments that we have all the time.
But this is the common people. One woman who looked to be about in her late 30s or early 40s just sat there and stared at it. She was clueless. At that age, you expect her to have at least recognize the picture.
Folks, the low and no information voters walk amongst us, just like the undead do in some movies and TV shows.
You want to hear
low and no infos are out there.
You want to hear the other what the F with that?
Go ahead.
They asked several people if they supported that thing in the White House that leads the White House. And people would say yes.
Right.
And so then they would ask, well, what has he done? And do you not know that not a single one of them could name one single thing, but they support him?
Not even O'Care?
Nothing.
Well, he's the cult of personality. That's what that's all about, and that's why it's so scary. There is nothing. There's no substance. The emperor has no clothes, whatever you want to say. There's no substance there. But people seem to be okay with that nowadays, more and more. That it's just all about, that glamorous thing. And like I said, the media, like we were talking about earlier, the media has facilitated that and indeed rammed it down people's throats. That they're hip and they're cool and they're black, and it's like wow, I want somebody with some substance, not caring if they're black, white, green, brown, any color, but I'd like somebody with some substance that's an American that believes in America, loves America, and wants to do the right thing, strong constitutionally, that sort of thing. But he is a cult of personality, and it just doesn't, no matter how low his poll numbers go, you've still got all these people out there that simply they don't care. They really don't care. I guess their lives are going well. They don't have anything to worry about. Indeed, they don't think about anything. They don't think about the future. They don't think about what that could be like. They really don't.
But to sit there and say you support someone, it's like, it is truly a what the F moment. Right? I support someone.
Oh, that it is.
That I can claim no accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
None. I mean, he's been in office over 6 years. They can claim no accomplishment.
Right. Low and no information voters, they walk amongst us all over, every day, all the time.
And I'm going to tell you, all you parents out there of these 23 and under little girls that are such airheads that the only thing that they concern themselves are their manicures, pedicures, acrylic nails, their hair extensions, and dye color. You need to smack them. Seriously, smack them. Take them home, strap them down in a chair, put handcuffs on them if you have to, and force them to read a history book.
But make sure it's an old school history book that's actually got some truth in it. Don't give them one of the Communist Corps ones. God knows what they'll learn from that.
Do you know, this guy walked along the beach, and all the little airheads, oh my goodness, those poor pitiful little girls. I just feel so sorry for their parents that is what they have to be proud of. And yes, they're not doing drugs, and they're not doing, but you know what? Saying your child my kid never drank and doesn't do drugs, that's not a sense of accomplishment as a parent.
Right. Setting the bar pretty low there.
I mean, seriously. Oh, well, they've got good friends. How do you know what kind of friends they all have? Mm-hmm. But they obviously did not get an education because they have no clue. No clue. They know how to use your debit card, your credit card, though.
Oh, yeah.
They know how to drive that car that you pay insurance on. Shake my head. Just shake my head. I'm surprised my brain doesn't bounce around like a BB in a boxcar up there.
I'm telling you. Hey, here's one more. My last one for the night, folks, but I got to get through this quick. This is kind of lengthy. The Gallup CEO of the Gallup organization, the Gallup poll, he blasted U.S. leadership today, saying the economy is not coming back. That was his exact quote. The economy is not coming back. He says we are now 12th among developed nations in terms of business startup activities. For the first time in 35 years, American business deaths outnumber business births. Employer businesses, which means there is at least one or more employees, which are the real engines of economic growth in the United States and always have been, are not happening. 400,000 new business startups in 2014 versus 470,000 deaths. Success is punished, failure is rewarded, and dope is legal. That's what I add to it. And my what the F is, really, he's just now finally waking up and standing up and talking about the truth. But folks, this is not a joking matter. This is a big problem. Once again, small businesses, we've always heard that, are the real engines of economic growth in this United States. And now new business startups are less than the businesses that are dying. They call them business deaths. That's the actual term that they use. 400,000 new business startups in 2014 versus 470,000 deaths. We rank 12th in the world among developed nations in terms of business startup activity. Make what you will of that, but I don't think it's going to lead to good things.
But we're on an economic incline.
All he can talk about. I mean, the first thing he said, Zero or O or Zippy the Muslim Whisperer, whatever you want to call him, the first thing he said when he got back off of his 17-day wonderful vacation in Hawaii was how great everything is and how come everything he's done is making the economy so great. Folks, Just because that stock market's doing what it's doing, the economy is not great, folks. You've got to look at the nuts and bolts of it. And just because the unemployment numbers may be down this week, and you know what, the overall unemployment rate is down, folks, those aren't the real numbers. Once again, the real numbers, the actual numbers, I think it's the U6 is what it's referred to. I think that's which one it is. All the indicators are very, very poor at this point. But once again,
I actually feel bad for whoever the next Republican or conservative president is going to be, because all of this is going to come crashing down on them to force a fix.
Right.
And it is going to look very bad. And people don't understand that, unlike Hussein, who wanted to constantly blame George Bush, this next person will truly have a mess to clean up.
And it will truly be a lot of the responsibility of Barack Hussein Obama, intentionally, I believe, and also everything he's going to do in the next 2 years is going to try to make the Republican majority in both houses of Congress look bad. I fully believe that they will do everything they can to make them look like obstructionists, absolutely incompetent. And guess what? The Republicans, in my estimation, are going to oblige them time and time again.
Well, they always do. They absolutely always do.
Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
That's right. That's what they do. Guys, we're coming to the end of our night. It has been What the F Wednesday. We have appreciated you being with us. Of course, we will be back here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, live with myself and Senor. You guys want to stick around and listen to DJ Stallion. He'll be following our show tonight, bringing forward a great deal of music and entertainment value. You'll want to do that and enjoy yourselves there. Guys, it's been a great night. We hope you've enjoyed it. We surely have. Y'all be good, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
God bless America. You take care, folks. We'll be back.
Protest line, freedom scribbled on your sign. Headline, New York Times, standing on the edge of a revolution. Hey, hey, just obey your secret safe with the NSA. And how we